Tell us about the exhibition game for charity.
We were in the NABC board talked about this, and the NCAA waived for all of us to have an extra game for charity, and so we're going to play Moorhead on the 30th of October. Hopefully sell the place out. The money has to all go to charity. That's what the exchange is. And so Moorhead and Coach Spradlin, who worked for us, I'm happy. And Moorhead's a great school, and it's in state. We could have done some other things and gone outside, but it would have cost more to get people there to do it. And because it's for charity, and might as well stay in state. We did the telethon for Houston and Texas, and now this hopefully will raise a lot of money.
How much is there a goal of, you'd like to raise X?
You know what? Well, you know what the number usually is for me, but I'm not sure that we can do that much, $1 million, but there may be matching funds involved, and if there are matching funds, maybe you get to that. If it's $500,000, whatever it is, if it is that. But our fans are the best. Game's not going to be televised. It's the first chance anyone will be able to see us against a Division I opponent, and this ticket is not sold on the ticket package. So people that usually could not get to one of our games, you get a chance to get to our game. Okay, thank you. No, what?
You guys picked number one, but a lot of the coaches have said the SEC this year is stronger than last year. Thoughts about that?
Yeah, I would say, A&M's going to be really a class team and with good players, and Billy does a great job. I think Florida's going to be good. I think Alabama's going to be good. There are a lot of good teams in our league, and I think, some teams that now a year or two in have some veterans are going to have a big advantage. So, let's hope we're 6-7 deep doing that stuff in the postseason. It's what the league deserves.
John, how important was it for the league that, and maybe even the public perception, and maybe the committee as well, that it was South Carolina, not you guys, not Florida, that made it to the final four?
It was awful. I don't know what to tell you. But, and Frank, he and I talked about his team a little bit. He just said it's the best shooting team he's had. They're going to defend. They're going to be tough. And now if they shoot the ball, they're going to be pretty good. And he said he really likes his team. But I told Frank, I said, you know what? Everyone was happy for Frank. I didn't meet one person that wasn't ecstatic. I said, you went from the guy that, to like the teddy bear everybody wanted to hug. And I said, keep riding that one. That one's better. But he did a great job, and will continue. Think about where he took that program from to where it is now. You think about that. You look at Andy and what he's done at Mississippi. He's the winningest coach in the history of their program. Again, took over a program, and now all of a sudden it's every year they're 20 wins. They're right there. They have their chance. Build a new building. I mean, we were in there last year. What a great facility. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on in the league. It's good stuff.
If you put together a roster to compete in the SEC aside from your own, what does it have to win and compete in this league?
Well, first of all, you better have some good players. All the stuff we talk about, you're now having a collection of really good players. Second thing, you better be rough and tough, because this league is a physical league. You cannot just walk in and say you're going to be cute and you're going to avoid everybody. You're not going to win. And lastly, I think you got to be able to score. Because the other team's going to be able to score. So you can't be a team that scores 50, 60 points a game and do well in this league. You got to be a team that scores 70 or more in this league to have a chance to win games, because the other team's going to score that many, whether you're really good defensively or not. Home courts here are enormous. I mean, this is one of those leagues that teams win their home games, and it's going to be an interesting season.
You just talked about South Carolina being on the rise. Is there a team this year that you're looking at that could be like the South Carolina last year?
Probably I would say Texas A&M, but again, I have not seen anybody yet. I'm so focused on this group I have, and I just said I don't have my hands on the panic button yet. I have both feet on the panic button, but I have no hands yet. And yesterday's or 2 days ago, we practiced, and it was our best practice. We scrimmaged, and I left thinking, I love this. We're going to be all right. But I'm also anxious about individual players. When you do what we're doing, you can't worry just about schemes and how you're going to play on offense. You got to be looking over your shoulder at each individual guy. Are they getting better? Are we doing what we're supposed to? These kids are young. They're fragile. How are we going to deal with this? Are they moving in the direction we need them to go? And if not, what do I have to do? Then I've got to worry about, okay, how are we playing pick and roll defense? Are we going to play zone? Do we not? By the way, I put in a zone, and it was 6'7", 6'6", 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", and it was so big, and we won't play zone. But, we have no press in yet. We have no out-of-bounds plays in yet. We have no press attack in yet. We have a line on the side and a line on the baseline. If we have to throw it in, so we can't even play a game yet. But I hope there are a lot of teams in the same boat we're in with young guys.
Cal, where do you keep your panic button? Where do you store
What's
it?
that?
Where do you keep your panic button?
Under my desk. And so if you hear my knees hitting the bottom, that's me jamming down on the panic button. What I'm trying to get these guys to do, and what's so important, I walked out of the gym and knew we got better, and it was one of our better days. And individual players got better. We got to grab that and live with that day, and not worry about the team we play on November 10th, November 13th, whatever it is, because that anxiety, there's no need for it. Let's just try to get better. And so I'm trying to lead that way where they know I'm staying in today. I'm not worried about anything else.
What exactly did you get better at, since you have so many things to still work on?
Guys are listening, so individual players now are more focused on how we're telling them to play. And after 13 practices, they're starting to develop habits that they must have to win, which they had none of. I don't ever try to break habits, because you're not going to break habits. You're trying to create new habits. And so we just go and say, here are these 6 or 7 habits you must have, and we do it every day. We work on it every day. We make them focus on those things. And I'm seeing them start to take hold. And then I'm seeing individual players play in a way we need them to play. But I'm still saying there's 2 or 3 guys that aren't where they need to be, in my opinion, even at this date. But they're getting better.
John, any injury updates on Jared, or because I heard he may not need surgery?
Yeah, we're waiting, probably Jared in another week. Jamal, maybe another week to really evaluate what he does. Ty has a bad back, so he's been out. I haven't talked to the doc where he is right now. What's that?
All 3 are out right
Yeah,
now.
they haven't practiced.
Cal,
What kind of handicap, if at all, is that for the team progress? Or that's
Well, there's one really good, really good thing, and really good for me. Brad has to be on the court the whole time, so I can go home and tell his mom how he played today.
Cal, could Shea be your starting point guard?
Yeah.
I mean, is he contending
Yeah.
for that?
Oh, yeah.
Right now?
Yep, they're both, and you could play them both together if we had to. But yes, he could start. Quade's doing fine too, but they're competing for that. And I would say they're both going to play. Now, how we finish games, we don't know yet. Will it be Quade in, Shea in, who's a better free throw shooter, who's better with the ball, who's maybe a better defender, rebounder at that time you want in late? I don't know. So we got a lot of stuff to figure out, but they're both going to be in that 7 guys, 8 guys.
What has Shea shown you in practice, just in terms of his versatility? Is this kind of a bigger, longer guy?
He is, with his wingspan and all the stuff, he's really, he's disruptive, really disruptive. Offensively, his ability to get in the lane, he right now he plays this way. We got to get him to play like that. So he's seeing skip passes, and he's working on those things. And we need some perimeter shooting, and that's got to be him. Now, right now, Quade, I'm basically telling him, if you're open, shoot it, because he's one of our better shooters. So if you're Get rid of it quick. If you have it and you're available to shoot, shoot it. If not, drive that lane and get somebody a shot. Try to keep it simple, yet tell them what to focus on when they're playing.
Avery Johnson said that he recruited Amadou and that he wished he had stayed in the NBA draft. And would you see him, how much better does he continue to get? Because Avery said he's maybe the best guy you got at that position.
He's doing well. Again, you have to understand, like last year, he didn't really play for us. The year before, he was in a prep school situation. And so what I would tell you is he's trending that way. And he needs to keep trending that way. Shooting the ball way better, making better decisions, but still has a way to go to be more consistent with those things. He's learning how to push through a practice. In other words, when you feel like stopping, keep going. You know, just you got to push through. We're doing stuff for him and one or two others that will do conditioning. All right, go shoot. And now you're on one knee. Come on, man, start shooting. We're doing conditioning. Let's go defense. Right now, boop, come on, he's got the ball guard. To try to get them to know, like I'm dealing with a team that's a year out of high school. So if you come and watch us practice, you're going to say, those are high school things he's doing. We got to start with what they don't know and build from there. But for him, better and better, but a ways to go.
Cal, you were the guy that got you so excited last week was Kevin's kind of breakthrough in practice and taking some of the things you said and applying those. Is it most important for a guy who maybe could be your star, Kevin Knox, to do that and have other guys see
Yeah,
it?
but he's still learning how to drive the ball, try to take hits, how to miss one shot, make the next two, miss two shots, make the next two, all that stuff. He's 17, just turned 18, one of the youngest freshmen in the country. Physically, he's not like PJ and Hami and some of these kids. Probably more in line with Wenyon physically. Maybe a little stronger than Wenyon, but in that realm. Should be a way better defender, and we'll get there. But right now, this is, for all these kids, it's a process. And I can't, as I'm watching them individually, it's like, okay, where are they now? Build from there. And when they're making strides, be really happy. And don't worry that, well, man, I think this kid should be way better. It doesn't matter. This is where he is. So with Kevin, it's kind of filling in that way. But he's doing good.
He was voted all league by the media, Kevin. Is that just the sign of the times, or is that?
He's a good player. I mean, he's good. But PJ's good, and Hami's good, and Wenyon's good. Nick's doing all right. Shea Alexander, no one here knows Shea, so we're talking about Shea, and they're all like, who is he talking about? Never heard of the guy. He's a pretty good player. So, we don't have real offense in. It's like, you ready? Swing the ball and drive the ball. What do you mean? Swing the ball and drive the ball. Get rid of it and drive it, and then figure out what we're doing. I mean, you got to start with a mindset of how you want them to play, and that's basically what we're trying to do.
How have Wenyon and Sasha been? How have they been? Wenyon, Sasha, you're hoping big things up coming back.
Sasha's way better than he was, and now he's competing against other guys that he's got to take minutes from, but he's way better. Wenyon is not even the same player. I would say Wenyon's one of our top three guys right now, if you ask me. His energy is unbelievable. He's making baskets, easy plays. He's the relentless guy I recruited, second and third tips, and just keep going. And he's stronger. So he's probably ahead because he's got better habits than some of the guys because he's been here.
With the game being so freshman, sophomore laden, how have you changed from earlier in your career, whether it's as an evaluator, as a recruiter, or just as a coach? How have you changed as far as to make sure that you're doing the best for the players, and not only that, but best for your team as well?
Well, the best team I've ever coached, I don't mean the best players on a team, was the 95-96 UMass team. I had Edgar Padilla, Carmelo Travieso, Dante Bright, Dana Dingle, Marcus Camby, had Tyrone Weeks, Charlton Clark. We had a bunch of walk-ons. but they were juniors and seniors. Now you're recruiting freshmen with the mindset that you want to do the best you can to get them to understand and share, and they're walking into a culture. The culture that we build is about the competitive spirit, that nothing's going to be given to you. You're walking in, every day you practice, you know you're going to have to compete for yourself. You're going to have to carve your space. You know that you're going to have to share. If you come here, you're not taking 30 shots a game. It's the culture of servant leadership, the culture of being about your brother, the challenge of the internal challenge in practice every day, and the external challenge that every team's trying to take your lunch money. And are you willing to fight and battle and embrace that? And that's the culture these kids have to step into. So if I see a kid that he's not going to make it in that culture, we won't recruit him. No matter how good he is, or that's the culture. And now you don't have to be perfect in all that, but we've got to have an idea that can he make it in that kind of culture?
Cal, Rick Barnes gave an interesting answer today about, as it relates to the FBI stuff. How as a head coach can you ensure that your house is in order, that everyone under you, is doing the right things? From your perspective, how do you approach that as a head coach to deal with your staff, to deal with all the people
hiring
around?
process? I mean, one of the things is the guys you're hiring are basketball coaches that are into what we're doing, that are into the kids. That also know our culture and how we do things, and it is different. Right down from managers, you're responsible for them too now. I mean, for managers on up, and you meet with them, you talk to them about it, and I have good people around me, and I feel good about how we do what we do.
Coach, along those same lines, how do you take something that's such a big negative like this and help it to impact the sport for the better in the long run?
Behaviors are going to change now. Like, you're not going to go do something because, am I going to jail? There's a difference. Behaviors will change. The question is, going forward, are we going to make this better for these kids? That's the question that's out there. So all this stuff, if the NBA is worried about the NBA, that's it. And the NCAA is worried about the NCAA, that's it. And each university is only worried about themselves and their own thing. We're probably not going to get it right. But if we all sit back and say, how do we make this right for these kids? And I say it in this regard, how are you fair with these kids? And being fair doesn't mean you treat every kid the same. Right now, we have an insurance program that is available to every NCAA kid, but only certain ones are eligible. You can apply, but you're not going to get it. So that's fair, though, because you have to insure those kids who are in college, and they have to be able to, for their future. So I just think that if we get together, I'll give you an example. I know right now, I believe that these kids should be able to go out of high school. The problem with that is the NBA then has to go back into putting scouts in high school gyms when kids are juniors. Then I ask you, how healthy is that for these young kids? They try to go to 2 years, which I'm fine with if they did that. But the point being, okay, we're going to let kids either go to the D League or to college. They can make a choice. Really? What choice are they going to make? So now all of a sudden, as a kid's in 9th or 10th grade, it's academic time. It's time to get better. It's what we've done. Now, I didn't agree with the NCAA on many things, but especially where they raised those academic standards a few years back. And I said, you're hitting certain kids and it's not fair. They were right and I was wrong. They raised those standards and kids met those standards. Now we had the highest graduation rate in college basketball history, the highest college or graduation rate of African Americans in college in its history. So now you're going to go back and say, let's throw all that out, all that we've worked for academics, to tell a kid you can go to the D League or go to college. You can do either. Well, all right, raise your hand if you'd have gone to the D League. I would have. I mean, it's how it is. So my thing is, there's going to be unintended consequences if we don't think of these kids. The D-League is unbelievable because I have 5 or 6 kids in it right now fighting to get back in the NBA. That's what it should be for. To have a kid out of high school on his own, getting up on his own when mom was waking him up every single day, on his own. I don't know if they're built for that. I know we are. Our kids get a lifetime scholarship. Some of them leave early, some of them don't. And, you know, I look at this and I keep coming back to be fair and be about these kids and what are the unintended consequences. Now, I'll say this. Well, it's not working. Who is this not working for? Is it individual schools? Well, then don't recruit these kids. If it's not working for you, don't recruit them. Recruit who you want to recruit. You have a choice. If it's not working for the NBA, tell me what's not working for the NBA. If it's not working for universities, tell me what's not working for the university. I just need to know you can't say it's not working. Tell me what's not working. Why for 10 or 12 kids would we change this whole, just throw it out? Now, I'm saying there are things we can do if we come together and say, I'll give you an example. The NBA cares about these kids. So there's 15, 18 of them. Meet with them and their families and let them have a loan. Let those families have a loan for expenses for families to travel back and forth to game. Let them have a loan. Let the loan go through the university. Oh, we can do this kind of stuff. Well, that's not fair. It's not a level playing field. Stop it. We don't use that word anymore. There is no such thing as a level playing field. We went to the Power 5. There is no level playing field. We can do stuff if it's all based on what's right for these kids. If we do this, what's the unintended consequences? Here's my point. You send high school kids to the D-League. How many of them will make the NBA? Just give me a number. How many of them? Saying 5%, you know that's high. It's probably 2 or 3%. What do we do with the ones that don't make it? Tell me. Now let me say this. We just had the highest graduation rate of basketball players in the history of our sport. African American graduation rate in the history of our sport. Let's not throw all this out. Let's figure out how we tweak this. If there are issues that we need to deal with, let's deal with them. And if a university does not want to recruit these level players, don't recruit. Don't say this is not working. You don't want to do it, don't do it.
Cal, would you maybe have these high school kids get NBA evaluation and say if you have a first round grade but you want to go to college, then you qualify for this loan? I mean, how would you decide who could qualify?
Here's what I would say. Kids that are eligible for the loan or for the insurance, that core group could then apply for loans. The NBA may say no to half of them, but you can apply. And there may be 15, 20 that they say, we'll give them a loan, we'll bring them to New York, we'll meet with their family, we'll do this, we'll talk about it, and now we're helping the players.
That's the NBA deciding who's good enough to get that loan?
Yeah, that's how it's done now.
It's dictated.
Yeah, it's how it's done now.
Until behaviors change, though, should it be left to the NCAA or law enforcement to deal with, enforcing the laws against the agents, the runners, and advisors that are trying to get these kids?
I haven't thought about it, but, behaviors will change. Who am I talking to? Behaviors are changing. Believe me. So some of the stuff we're talking about, some of the stuff, I'm like saying, look, guys, behaviors are going to change. How do we make it right for these kids without saying, all right, these 12, we're going to change this all because of 12 kids? What? That I don't get. I love that Condoleezza Rice is the chairman of this. Bright, she is engaged, she gets it. And the committee, the other people I heard on that committee, very good. Care about the kids. Every decision, what's this do for kids? What is it doing for them? What's the unintended consequence? Are we steering them away from education? Are we steering them away from education? Well, then we're wrong. Let's do this. I'll say it again. Our kids have lifetime scholarships. Our kids understand there's a path that they're on that needs to be clean. That's why they finish every term. They do what they're supposed to do for the kids that are trying to go that same path. But this stuff is, there's change happening, but let's make it, what are we doing for these kids?
John,
this is more on the poll.
It could be a college athlete and then benefit from image like this.
Well, let me say this. All right, I'm going to make a statement from what you just said. I'm going to make everybody mad, so listen closely.
I'm ready.
If they say either go to the D League or NBA or to college, we're benefiting. Because they're going to say, do I go to the D League, am I ready to be on my own, or do I go to Kentucky for 2 years and build my brand and win and be a part of this, and I'm going to Kentucky. We're benefiting. So you want to go that route? And, Jerry, you won't be here by then, but I have, what happened? What happened? I have teams for 2 years now. I wouldn't know what to do. I would be whistling and skipping in every practice. I'd have teams for 2 years. Are you kidding me? The unintended consequence of doing some of this, you're going to help Kentucky. That will change it. So that ain't happening now. I'm telling you, let's do what's right for these kids. Let's be fair. Doesn't mean you treat every kid the same, but be fair. Let's make this a great environment, and the sport will be better.
What about
Last
that? Just
question.
being able to benefit,
Yeah.
you can't get an endorsement deal while in college.
You know what? I'm going to let the powers that be come up with ideas like that, and then I'll discuss it on my website, but I'll discuss it. And I will tell you that being fair may be that. What's fair? Let's do this in a fair way. And I think, again, I'm proud of some of the stuff that we've moved to at Kentucky, which is lifetime scholarships. That John Wall at his Hall of Fame induction said, I am going to finish. Brandon Knight. You have guys 4 or 5 that have already started on their way back. Now, it's going to take time because they're still playing professionally. We have 2 players that graduated in 3 years and are in the NBA. So there's a component. Let's not get away from this and start making this that it isn't about this. It is. It is about, do we want to steer kids toward education or do we want to steer them away? Do we want this to be a different system? And I'm saying a lot of good stuff going on here. Let's if we do right by the kids, we can keep this all rolling for those kids and what we're trying to do.